Hi, I'm with Noel Hannan, Cyber and Digital Innovation Lead at GoSecure, and today we're going to have a quick chat about GDPR, which is on a lot of people's minds at the moment. It's obviously quite interesting times. There's a lot of information coming out about GDPR, and also some of it which is not quite accurate. So I wanted to have a chat with Noel, who is an expert on all things cyber security, because cyber security is an important part of GDPR. And companies in general getting hold of the information that they hold and how secure it is. Noel, it'll be really interesting for me to hear when GDPR is going to be a thing and what that might imply for businesses.
Okay, thanks Phil. So here we are on the 20th of February 2018 and we're inside 100 days now for the implementation. 100 days on the implementation of GDPR on the 25th of May. So for those who are completely unfamiliar with it, GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulation. It's an EU regulation that comes into force on that day. It it replaces our UK Data Protection Act at that point in time. And the main implications are for organisations is that it enhances the accountability for the processing of personal information. So it's very person-centric. It's designed to prevent organisations from abusing personal data, storing too much personal data, capturing too much personal data, and it puts a lot of power back into the individuals for them to be able to hold organisations to account around the processing of personal data, and puts in place mechanisms by which they can right any wrongs and also make requests against companies for information that's held about them.
So over the last 20 years or so, all of those hard drives that organisations and people have been buying have been filling up with data, some of it about people, and much of it personally identifiable and bringing in some kind of a risk. So that's sounding like there's now some responsibility pigeons coming home to roost, and organisations are now being forced to take that very seriously and do some things about it. It sounds to me a bit like a journey, perhaps, though, rather than a destination. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is not a certification regime of any description. There is no certificate to achieve. There's no badge to achieve on this, much like the Data Protection Act. What it is a continuous assessment process, really. You may, at some point in time, be externally audited by the ICO as the enforcement body of this. They may do that in a spot check function, or they may do that as a result of an investigation of some description. But it's very much a journey. It's very much a state of culture change that needs to be put into place in an organisation. It will no longer be acceptable to assume consent for processing and capture of information. It will be no longer acceptable to provide ambiguous information about the kind of information that's held about an individual. The mantra now, the underlying drive behind capturing data will have to be opt-in rather than opt-out. So you will no longer, particularly on websites, you'll no longer be able to have checkboxes pre-populated for people's agreement for data to be captured or for contact to be made with them. They'll have to tick the box themselves.
So what risks are there for businesses as it currently stands?
So I think there's two main risks, really. There are two things that will get you fined under GDPR. One is a data breach, and the other is lack of compliancy. And you can be fined for lack of compliancy even if you haven't suffered a data breach. However, we would all agree that the data breach is by far the worst situation. So the primary risk for a company is what is the status of their cyber security? Have they got enough resources in place? Do they understand the risks and the vulnerabilities that their organisations face at this point in time? And how confident are they that they could, at the very least, prevent a data breach within their systems?
Okay, so as a quick run through of the situation, I think that's really useful to hear, Noel. Noel Hannan, Head of Innovation and Research for
Digital and Cyber Innovation
at GoSecure. Thanks, Noel.
Thanks, Phil.